Good morning everyone, it's Libby from Meister Tarot. Thank you for joining me, and I'd like to acknowledge our First Nations Worimi people on whose custodial land we now reside. So got a lot that I want to have a look at today. What I'm going to do, and it might throw you a bit, I'm going to run off 2 videos today because there is a lot I want to look at, but also I'm getting a bit husband's still home with man flu, so I might not be in any condition tomorrow to actually put a video together. So we'll see how we go. Okay, lots I want to have a look at. I'm going to head overseas first of all today. They'll be mixed up because there is what I want to have a look at is. Well, first of all, is Mark Meadows going to be Trump's fall guy? The Russians attacking Odessa literally hours after signing an agreement that grain could be shipped through that port. And I want to see how Zelensky's going to go after this invasion is all over. Liz Cheney in Wyoming in the primaries, which are coming up shortly. Italy, want to have a look at Italy to see how that's going. Biden's climate emergency agenda and Bolsonaro in Brazil. So what I might tackle today is I want to have a look at, some things can wait till tomorrow. I'm going to have a look at Ukraine, Biden's climate emergency, and I might have a look at Liz Cheney when we get towards the end, and then I'll tackle the others tomorrow. In my video that I will do afterwards for tomorrow. Okay, so want to have a quick look with how things, why did they, what's going on in regards to, agreement was nutted out with Russia, I believe a UN envoy, and Turkey in regards to allowing Ukrainian grain to be shipped from the eastern ports to those countries that rely on the grain and fertilizers for their very survival. There's a lot of countries that rely on this grain, especially in northern Africa and the Middle East, and they are currently at the moment they're in their own droughts and they are really desperate. What flew out at me there was the Seven of Wands, which is having to defend themselves, and this is the battle. This is the invasion in Ukraine itself, so having to defend themselves. As a side note, and sorry if my brain's a little foggy, didn't sleep particularly well last night. As a side note, as I was meditating to go to sleep, I had the most fabulous image given to me of the First Nations ancestral guide that I had visit the other day. He was standing alongside Meister, just in not a protective stance, but they were just standing there together. So I now consider them both fairly major guides in my life, so thank you, both of you, for being with me. Okay, right, where do we start with this? Okay, apparently there are, according to a UK expert report, there's estimated about 50,000 Russians have died so far in this campaign. Doesn't include those that have been injured, which I imagine are in the hundreds of thousands. Just so senseless. Okay, what is the reasoning behind? Now, I have read on the grain exports before, and to me it sort of all came down to money, wanting to get paid to allow the grains through. However, as Russia is reaching a crux point in regards to Ukraine itself, it's been bogged down. The initial thought was that they would overrun the country in 3 days. It's now been, 5 months. Their logistics are very poor, their debt are very high, and getting the feel, okay, I'll ask on that, whether Russia will be out by the end of August. But what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at what was the reason behind the attack on the grain ports just after signing the agreement. What was the reason for Russia attacking Ukraine's grain ports? Less than 24 hours signing an agreement that grain could go through. Russia has been silent on this. I had a look, couldn't find any statements made by the Russian hierarchy. What is the reason behind this? Okay, let's have a look. Now this flew out ages ago. Oh, why am I not surprised? This flew out ages ago while I was shuffling, and I just left it on the table. And that's the Emperor, Putin. Okay. And this is the United Nations. Putin being challenged by NATO, the United Nations. This is feminine energy, wisdom, truth, holding to account. So Putin himself is just, okay, thank you, Meister. I don't know that Putin was part of the agreement, and I'm suspecting he didn't like it because it's showing him, okay, thank you. Meister is telling me that Putin has viewed this as, it's an ego thing, him being weaker for allowing it. Let's see where we go. Right, base of this particular reading is we have the Hierophant, which is about the government system. So this is the government within, can be religious, can be health, can be, it's all about the man, the systems of power and control. And this is the base of the reading, and I'm wondering whether, I'll ask in my clarifiers, whether Putin was actually part of this agreement. Okay. In the past, Wheel of Fortune, karma coming back and biting Russia on the bum. In the future, it's going to be okay. It's going to end. It's going to be okay. Okay, the near future is, and what's behind it is that there is this disappointment in the offer that they've got. Russia has, or Putin has, or whomever it was that made the agreement in Russia, are disappointed with the outcome of the agreement made. Disappointment in the offer. Externally, there's a harsh truth that Russia is having to face. Internally, they are facing the big stick. Hopes and fears are this abuse of power, deception, stealing, lying, collecting up all the swords of truth and taking off with them, leaving the garrison unguarded, raiding the armory. It's just all about lies and deceit and abuse of power and deception, and also the truth leaving Russia feeling vulnerable and open. Okay, thank you. So we have both the abuse of power and the feeling of vulnerability, which is clarified in the next card. Manipulation, juggling the money, actions and consequences, inevitable ending, and justice. And it's going to sort itself out and be okay. So this is a call to arms. Just the judgment card can be about judgment, but it is actually a call to arms and an inevitable ending and inevitability about this when the legal system steps in regards to actions and consequences. And this is a new relationship beginning, and the dove of peace. So I'm going to ask very quickly, I shall just use my Rider-Waite cards. I'm wondering whether Putin was actually involved in that decision making, because it seems what's happened is the decision has been made and he's not happy with it. And that's why the bombing took place. He's disappointed with the outcome of it, or whomever authorised that bombing is disappointed in the outcome of the agreement that they signed. Let's have a look. Tiny, tiny, tiny little cards, these ones. So they're a little bit tricky to... Okay, was Putin involved? Was Putin actually involved in the negotiations? Did he agree to the agreement? Was Putin actually involved? Did he agree to the agreement? For the grain to be shipped. So we've got Justice and the King of Swords. So this Justice card again, it's about actions and consequences and being held legally responsible on the world stage, facing justice, under investigation, really powerful investigators. And Putin is seeing this as a victory. So, okay, let's see where that goes. Did Putin actually agree to the outcome of these grain negotiations? Got the smug merchant here. And this is being a cups, it's about relationships and agreements. Can also be about emotions as well. Sitting smugly, but with the cups all lined up behind him. A passionate message going to come forward very quickly. Oh, yeah, okay. And there's devil energy. There was another card I draw there. I don't know whether I saw you, but he sees it is a show of strength. Ooh. So we've got the devil. Sorry, I should have brought you down. We've got the devil and the Tower card coming out together. And the grain is going to get through. It is, but it's going to... Okay, let's have a look at this. I'll bring you down. They are tiny, tiny little cards. So what's happened is the agreement was made, and then whomever, I'm assuming it is Putin, has been unhappy with the result, and he has ordered somebody that these ports be bombed. Now what it is that it's him bringing forth his arrogance and saying, I can do what I like, basically. He sees it as a victory to his supposed strength, but what's actually going to happen is that these actions are going to have consequences. There are investigations underway into other ways that this can be done, and that will actually be victorious. So we've got here... I'm just looking at all the cups lined up behind. Okay. So what's happening here? Thank you, Master. Thank you. He's dumped on me and he just keeps hammering it in. This is NATO. All the relationships. They have all these relationships at their back, and they are going to move in swiftly to counter this devil energy, and it is going to lead to downfall. They have a plan. There is a plan that they're going to bring forward very quickly with the Chariot. I'm looking at the bottom of the pack now, and it is going to lead to an ending. So, I could keep going on the bottom there, it kept going. So I'm thinking what's happened is that the agreement was made. Putin was not happy. He's ordered the bombing. He's going to be held accountable for it, and it's going to hasten his downfall. Is that right? Is this going to hasten Putin's downfall? Is this action going to hasten Putin? Oh boy, every time I ask a question I get another 5 questions. Is this bombing action after the agreement was made, the good faith agreement signed off by all these involved countries? Wasn't even Ukraine, it was Turkey. And if you remember when I read last time on this, it was that I believe Turkey and Russia were going to want some sort of payment for it, for allowing the grain to go through. So I don't know what the agreement actually holds, but is this action, this bombing of the grain ports, going to hasten the downfall of Putin? Thank you. Let's have a look. King of Cups, which is my Biden card, but it is also the calm, diplomatic, negotiator, balanced energies, just very solid and dependable. I'm not getting a downfall card for him here, but I'm thinking what this is these. So we've got the diplomats here over the giving and receiving help. So they are determined to make this happen. They are working together as a community, hard behind the scenes, passionately at it. They have a solid plan to make this happen. There is an inevitability, but it's about a unity, a coming together, a unity of diversity to make this happen, because it's just emotionally overwhelming. What's going to happen, I think, is Putin is going to find himself out in the cold, and we have this sunshine coming through, this sunshine, and then we have the partnerships. There's this sunshine in regards to the partnerships, and there is another offer that is going to be made. Again, contracts and agreements. Yeah, okay. So what I'm getting there is, so Putin's still theoretically in charge of the war, but he's getting pushed aside, is what I'm getting. He's becoming irrelevant. I will just very quickly ask. Okay, thank you, Master. I'm seeing the grain is going to get through, but not as in a timely manner as we would like, but I will have a quick look using that was my Golden Universal Tarot and my miniature Rider-Waite. So I'm just going to use my beautiful new Runic Tarot that I love, and just ask, are the grain ports going to open? Are they going to be able to? I've read on this before and have had a solid yes. If I remember the previous reading correctly, it wasn't an easy path. There was some back and forward and argy-bargy, and there was money that was going to have to change hands. But I will just quickly look at it. Will the grains get through? Will the grain ports open for export? Yeah, and they're going to be protected. There is protection that's going to come for them. This is making sorry if you can't really see that, there's a little squirrel pinched a cup and taking off up the tree. This is moving towards what serves you, what works for you. pinching the cup and running, basically. And then we have the King of Pentacles, which is about protection, health, material gain and wealth as well. But I think I'm going to stick by my previous reading that I did, in that yes, it will get through. The grains will get through, but it's not going to be an easy process. Not going to happen as easily as the diplomatic negotiations led to believe, and money is going to change hands. Okay, to make it happen for the protection. Okay, I don't have a timeline on it. August. Okay, but August is what I'm getting. I think the beginning of the end of this. I mean, I know most of it's been beginning of the end, but I think the beginning of the end of this will be August. Very much August. Okay. Tell me about. I'll just do a. It's just the energies of today. Once the invasion is over, Russia is pushed back, put back in their box. Zelensky, Putin is deceased. Navalny, type figure, maybe it's Yulia Navalny, has been put in place. How will Zelensky? I'm getting massive rebuild. Okay, thank you. Can I have a full Celtic cross just to show people how it's going to go? Zelensky after the invasion is over. Zelensky after the invasion is over. Okay, let's have a look. I won't tell you what I was showing, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so first card out is the Magician. Manifesting possibilities, powerful, every tool at his disposal, making miracles happen, pulling the rabbit out of the hat. I love the chicken on his shoulder. I don't know if you saw that. That makes me chuckle, the little chicken on his shoulder. But it is also about rebuilding the prosperity. I should find out who he is in the deck. It does tell me in the book as to what mythology leader he is. I'm really drawn to the rainbows in this card as well. Unity, culmination, manifesting possibilities. Crossed by in some ways having to defend himself, so he is going to get some pushback about decisions that may have been made during the conflict itself, but that it is a legal pushback. It's not physical. He's not been beaten. He is consulting the books. He's okay, thank you. He's stepping back and taking time to ensure it's done properly. Okay, thank you. Base of the reading is the... I always get confused about whether this is the Nine of Swords or the Nine of Pentacles. It's the Nine of Pentacles. It is about independence, building of wealth, security in self. Okay. Sitting pretty. In the past, so what I'm talking about is Zelensky in the future, after the invasion's over. This is the invasion. This is the sabotage, betrayal, the fighting, the throwing down of arms. This is actually Russia leaving. This is Russia burning the country and leaving. Oh, goodness me. Crowning. Oh, I like this. Six Six of Swords, the moving on to calmer waters, loading up the truth into the boat and moving on. So yes, very nice. Immediate future, there is an agenda. I think he's putting together a plan for post-invasion already. We won't see it. We don't know all that it's about. Spiritually, very powerful, this figure, but also has, something that they're not quite revealing at the moment. So there is a hidden agenda that we're not aware of at the moment in the immediate future. Externally, the Four of Cups, or the Four of Horns on this particular deck, is an offer being made, but not entirely, not disappointed in the offer. So I think what's happened, and we've got the beautiful foal in the background. I'm just trying to work out who that is sitting under the tree with his horns on. But I think there's going to be, this is possibilities. And I think what's happened is there is going to be disappointment in the help that is going to come from the West. Okay, thank you. Internally, a complete breaking down of the old so that they can rebuild new and rebuild stronger. So this is about the rebuilding itself of Ukraine. Hopes and fears, Nine of Wands, having to set up boundaries, which we know all about. Six of Pentacles or Six of Shields in this deck. The giving and receiving of help. So there is going to be giving and receiving help. There is going to be an emotional offer made. We've got this Devil energy. Okay, beware the lure of the greed and corruption. This is what I was getting from the beginning, is that he is going to be instrumental in the rebuilding, but I don't know that he actually has much of a political future after the initial rebuild has gone through, and I don't even know that if he wants it. He's very possibly wanting to step aside and pass the reins on to somebody else, because the next card is also the Moon, which is good versus evil, but you've got domestic versus wolf. There is going to be full illumination. Okay, I'm actually really drawn. I don't know if you can see it, because my camera's not brilliant, the little rose in the glass dome at the bottom there, and that's what they're fighting over. So, and then we have the Five of Pentacles. Okay, which is the out in the cold. So what's going to have to happen is that the people of Ukraine are going to have to be very careful because when they're in this rebuilding stage, there will be huge amounts of money flood in, opportunities to be involved in the money, and really need to be aware, be on the alert for this devil energy as they squabble over the spoils of, when I say spoils of war, it's not the spoils of war, but the spoils of rebuilding. And there will be some that are left out, find themselves left out in the cold. And it's not going to happen as quickly as those that have experienced this would like. They're not going to be brought in as quickly as they like. Okay, but I do have the Ten of Cups. It's all about community coming together. The King of Wands, which is my Zelensky card, is an inspired leader. And then I have another 10, the Ten of Pentacles. So I'm looking at this as really sort of moving forward financially and powerfully, coming to a culmination, rebuilding the strength of the country, but also just beware of, this is also an oligarch card, just beware of the pillagers and rapists and rebuilders. And there is going to be some disappointment over what's going to happen. But yeah, again, we have a wise. So what I'm thinking is that Zelensky's going to see out the invasion. But I think what I did see was that the rebuilding is going to be too much for him. He's going to pass the reins over. So, and here's on the base of the pack is the Hierophant, which is the government card, the Queen of Swords, so wise, wisdom, intellect, truth, but also a crossroads. The country's going to be at a really, the United Nations and NATO itself are going to have to be really on the ball to make sure that there isn't a corrupt abuse of power as the country is remaking itself. So what I'm getting is that Zelensky, he'll still be around and he will be this really inspirational figure, but I'm thinking that what I'm getting downloaded to me, which seems to be more and more often rather than the cards, is that he is going to step aside once the invasion. I think he's just going to be too exhausted. He's going to be so exhausted that he will work with those that are rebuilding the country, but the United Nations and NATO are going to have to be on the ball to make sure that the advantage they aren't taken advantage of. Okay, 32 minutes for that, so I might leave that one as it is, and I will tackle the other topics in tomorrow's reading, and then I might even do a third, because who knows what this man flu is going to do to this household. So I shall catch you shortly, and take care. Bye-bye.